as we do this. As Angie said, we have Natalie Helbling with us today. Natalie is our education program coordinator, and she's brilliant, and she makes me look good. So I brought her out here today to help us with this. So I don't know if Wendell is on this poll or not, but if he was, I would whip out $1 and say, Wendell, I got this. Announced that we have received a grant from Tri-County EMC to have native reptiles at Lockerly, and let Natalie tell us about the exciting project, and how important it is for our education program. Natalie?
Yeah, so we are working with the DNR and applying for a permit to house native reptiles, including box turtle, an American alligator, a variety of rat snakes, and we have a yellow-bellied spider here also. I think it's important for our community to get in touch with these native reptiles so they know how to take care of them and how we can conserve them in the wild. There's a big misconception that all snakes are bad, especially out in the country. And so we want to make sure that we can educate everyone who comes to Lockerly on the importance of snakes to our ecosystem and to our state and why that we need to keep them alive and happy and thriving. So we're excited. We are going to start constructing some enclosures. We're going to put all of our reptiles in the Whisper Dam so people can come in and see them as they like and not only have to see me for a program, but they'll be able to enjoy them on their own time as well.
Yay! We're very excited. So we've got a lot of downtime at Lockerly right now. We are closed to the public. Staff are working on a rotating schedule, and so that's one of the main things Natalie will be doing over the next month or so. She obviously doesn't have any field trips going on right now. So as you know, Lockerly is 50 acres, and if we were to do a walking tour of Lockerly, it might take a while, so we're going to actually give you a little snapshot today. We're actually going to be walking on the nature trail, and Natalie will be sharing insights with us as we walk along, tidbits of information that she uses when she does field trips. But one thing I did want to show you briefly, even though there's not a lot to see. You all remember a few months ago we had Ernest Kuhn came and did a talk on azaleas to Rotary. And over to my left here, you can see our legacy azalea garden that was donated to Lockerly by Ernest. And it is still early for the azaleas. You can see that they are leafed out, but they haven't actually started blooming yet. But at least with the leaves on them, they don't look like the sticks in the ground. So they're coming along. They're getting some size on them. And so in a couple of weeks, I hope we'll come out, check them out. Hopefully we'll be open. And you can see some awesome native azaleas that will cover this entire hillside when we're all done. All right. So let's head on down the nature trail.
And this might be a hazard more for me than anybody. I don't know. That was the best one to hold the camera and do this.
Okay. I'm not going to kill our president on this trail. Okay, so one of the wonderful things on our nature trail are discovery boxes. There are about 6 of them along the trail. They were installed by an Eagle Scout, and Natalie is going to give you a little quiz that is in this first nature box.
So one of the important things when you're outside is identifying poison ivy. We have a lot of it, and I am extremely allergic, so I think it's important to educate people on how to identify poison ivy. There's a common phrase, leave the 3, leave it be, but there's also a lot of plants out there that only have 3 leaves. So we're going to do a little quiz today. I'm going to show you guys a picture, and then you can either put a thumbs up or thumbs down if you think it is poison ivy. I can't see what your guess is, but maybe someone will tell me. What do you guys think? No one can see it?
Can you get in the chat? Anybody?
Anyone see?
Yeah, put your responses on the chat.
Put your responses on the chat.
Okay, I'm saying no.
Any guesses on what it is if it's a no?
Oh, somebody said poison. Renee Fontenot said no. Any guesses of what it is? A green leaf.
A green leaf, that's right, it's green. This is box elder. It's often mistaken as poison ivy while it's young, but it has an opposite leaf arrangement, which means that the leaf, if we're looking at it, will have a leaf here, and then a leaf here, where poison ivy is, well, I had it backwards. Opposite is when it's directly across, and poison ivy is alternate. So they are varying on the branch. That is a no. And that's fun.
Ooh, somebody's running out.
Yeah.
Poison ivy, yes or no?
Guesses.
Did you click on the link?
No guesses? Okay, yes. We have a yes. Yes, we have 2 yeses.
We got about
Yes, 3 yeses. All right.
one.
Woohoo! Greg Tyson was one of the people that he knew what it was.
Did you try the other way to go to WebEx and put in the credentials? Oh.
I say
Must be
no.
something. Oh, okay.
No, anybody else?
So
Yeah, we have 4 no's. Whoa, 5 no's.
you may want to try again just to see if maybe the internet needed to kick in for a
We
little
actually
bit
have some
more.
Virginia creepers, and everyone mistakes Virginia creeper for poison ivy. It has 5 leaves, so I
Yeah.
don't know why people do, but
That takes you right into it.
Okay, our last one, poison ivy. Or not.
Ew. Like buds.
Okay, good.
Got some berries on there.
Berries, that's it. Not buds.
Anybody?
We have a no, 2 no's.
It is poison ivy.
Uh-oh.
It has berries, and sometimes the leaves are a little bit redder. Often when the leaves come together, that point is called an apex, and poison ivy has a red apex. So this is poison ivy, and another state has a couple of varieties. We have a hairy vine, we have some with berries, and then we have those typical leaves of tree that are green, and they almost look like little hands. It looks like this to me on one side, this on the other, and in the center it looks like 2 thumbs on top of each other.
Frank Atkins said, what? Wow. I love it.
Some azaleas that are beginning to bloom.
Oh, pretty.
Native azalea, that nice bright flamium orange with a nice rhododendron right next to it. We have a wide variety of azaleas here, so you'll see they are all in various stages of growing and blooming and leafing out and budding. So it creates a nice effect. That means that the artist's hope for us is that when the hillside is finished, we will have azalea color that starts in February and may even last as long as August. We have any bird people in the group? You might be able to identify some of the bird calls for us. All right, Natalie, next station. Okay, so Angie, you did a good picture of these beautiful white spots on our tree. These are different types of lichen, and it's spelled L-I-C-H-E-N. Lichen is a symbiotic relationship between 2 organisms. Our 2 organisms are a type of fungi and then a cyanobacteria. And what they do is they provide the other one a necessity in order to live. So the fungi provides the structure for the lichen, and the cyanobacteria goes through photosynthesis to provide food for both of them. So without the other one, they wouldn't be able to live, and that is called a mutualistic symbiotic relationship. So they both need each other in order to live. That's 2 thumbs up. Now, the lichen to the tree is another type of symbiotic relationship. The lichen needs somewhere to live, but it's not taking anything away from the tree. It's not a parasite like a tick sucking blood. It's just on there hanging out. That's a commensalism relationship where one is benefiting, the lichen is benefiting because it has somewhere to live, and it's not harmed or benefiting. So that is commensalistic lichen. I don't know if anyone.
What happened? I went away. Here I am. Okay.
We're good.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I don't know. Who on there signed in as C. Aaron? Like the letter C, E-R-I-N. I don't think Aaron's on this. Oh, it is Aaron Andrews. Ah, Christine, I forgot. Please mute your phones if you're not muted. Uh-huh.
Okay. So in 2017, we had Hurricane Irma that came through in September of that year, and she did a fair amount of damage around here. We lost about 30 trees, most of them oak trees, and they came up by the roots like this one. Because of the location of this tree on the nature trail, we've been unable to get equipment down in here to remove it, and of course it goes across the ravine as well. But we've taken lemons and turned it into lemonade, and Natalie uses this as an educational opportunity when she's out here with students. So, Natalie? Yeah, so it's cool for a couple of reasons. One, to see the large root ball. A lot of times kids have a hard time imagining what goes on underground, so being able to see all of the different roots in just this area is pretty neat. But the next thing is if you look over here to your other side, Angie, we have a whole lot of sunlight now. When we lost all of those trees, our canopy, which is one of the top layers of our forest, where all of the tops of the trees, the crowns of the trees meet, now has created a bunch of light that enters the floor. So in the beginning, the forest floor often does not have a lot of light. There's not a whole bunch of plants that can survive without enough light, and so the forest floor is sort of empty. But because we lost a lot of the trees in this area, we've seen a lot of different types of grasses and new plants grow because there is a new source of light, and that's creating a new space and almost like a new sort of habitat that's happening. So we have the forest floor, then we have the understory, which has a couple of shrubs and bushes that can survive with a little bit of light, but they don't need a whole lot. Then we have our canopy, which are our tall trees, and then our emergent layer, which is the tippy top, where a couple of trees poke out a little bit higher than our other stems. One of our
Right. Okay.
Are there any questions?
Questions?
We're ready.
Hey.
It's not going to be an issue for us at all.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, that's cool. We'll keep going.
Okay, thank you.
See if I get any.
We have another discovery box on the trail here. It's cool. This discovery box has a box turtle shell, which we're hoping to have some real live ones in the future. The box turtle shells are cool because a lot of times students don't realize that they are vertebrates, meaning that they have a spine, and that turtles cannot leave their shell. So once a turtle is hatched from an egg, they stay in their shell and they grow with their shell their entire life. If they ever leave their shell for any reason, that means they've probably been eaten and they're dead. So they have to stay inside their shell in order to live, and their shell grows with them. Box turtles are a unique species because they are one of a couple of species that can completely retract their arms and their head and close completely, almost like a box. A lot of turtles can just pull their heads and their arms in, but they cannot close. And so this is a great protection mechanism in order to defend themselves from predators. We have at a possum school, which possums have some.
Renee says, is a turtle without a shell homeless or naked?
He's dead.
Yeah. Possum schools, they've got some pretty gnarly teeth, but a lot of our teeth have fallen out. Our marsupial friend. We have a snake skin, which you guys might be seeing a lot of snake skins out and about in the upcoming months. As it's warming up, our snakes are coming out of their little hibernation, or hibernation is when they take time and they don't eat as much because it's cooler weather, and they're exothermic, meaning they are whatever the temperature is outside. So they're unable to regulate their body temperature like us warm-blooded humans are. So if it's sunny out, they're going to be out sitting in the sun so they can warm up. And then you might see some more shedded skin around as they are growing and eating more in the environment and habitat are changing. Those are our animal friends that inhabit this area. Yay! Yay.
Beautiful example of a willow oak. It's huge. It's one of the best examples on the property of a beautiful willow oak. Very happy. Mostly happy. Lost a few limbs up there.
Oh, sugar. How does it do that? Yeah. Sorry. Here I am. It doesn't like me to go all the way up to the sky, I guess. So it's off on me every time.
A lot of people would think this is poison ivy because it has 3 leaves, but there's also thorns on it, and poison ivy does not have thorns. I don't know
What's the difference in poison ivy and poison oak?
There's really no
So
difference.
poison oak has 5 leaves, right? It still has 3?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the same thing.
Poison oak, I feel like, is more common in the large, hairy vine.
Okay.
I think that's what I've seen it more as than the 3.
Okay. Good to know.
Next educational stop is this large tree is a sycamore tree, and we're actually going to be looking down in the ravine area where you can see all of the exposed roots, hopefully. That is caused by weathering and erosion. So I like to teach my students a song that weathering breaks it, erosion takes it, and then deposition places it. So what's happening is that as we have had a lot of heavy rain the past couple of weeks and months, that water is rushing by and taking a lot of the sediment that the tree used to hold itself up and is washing it away, which is the erosion part, and taking it down the stream almost to our lake where it's deposited. And now our tree is facing some consequences because it's losing a lot of its stability. And so from when I was in college till now, I've noticed that it started leaning a little bit more and a little bit more, and eventually it's not going to be able to support itself and will probably come crashing down. It's just a little glimpse at that water is a strong force and it moves whatever is in its way. So you see weathering and erosion all along this trail for a little bit.
Okay.
So these 2 trees right here, we have a beech and an oak, and they are sort of competing. So competition is another characteristic that takes place a lot in the forest. 2 plants have to compete for light, for nutrients in the soil and for water. And for these two really large trees to be extremely close, Greg has said over the years he's seen that one year the beech is a little bit taller than the oak, and then the next year the oak is taller than the beech, and so they are competing in order to survive with the most amount of nutrients, water in the soil, and then the sunlight. So whoever's on the top gets the most sunlight and then is able to grow a little bit more and probably survive. So we'll see in a couple years which one is going to outcompete the other one.
Survival of the fittest here.
Yep.
Very happy, beautiful azalea, and gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. What was that? Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about this tree. Yeah. So after something has died in the forest, whether it's a plant or an animal, it's going to fall into the ground and a process called decomposition is going to take place. Decomposition is run by three contenders. I like to call it the FBI of the forest. So fungi, bacteria, and invertebrates. So different mushrooms will fall into our fungi category. Those will be visible to the eye. And then there's a lot of microfungal communities that we don't see as well. And we can't see bacteria either. So if you were to see bacterial fungal communities, you would have to take a sample from the soil, put it in a solution, grow it on a petri dish, on a soil agar, and then incubate it for a while. And then you would be able to count the different communities. The invertebrates, we're talking about worms and slugs and ants and spiders and millipedes and termites. All of those sticky crawlers are going to be really important in breaking down the dead, decaying material and putting the nutrients back into the soil so trees and plants can start to grow again. And it will be our recycling of the nutrients. So those are our decomposers, and you can find those all throughout our forest. There's some really cool logs that you can, if you lift them up, you think it might be heavy, but really a lot of decomposition has taken place, and they're extremely light because those animals have been hard at work breaking down the material that has already been dead.
So I'm telling my son's story about Natalie right quick. When we were interviewing for this position, Greg and I wanted to make sure that candidates knew what they were talking about, and but we mainly wanted to make sure that they could teach it to somebody else. And we all know that I was not hired here for my plant knowledge. So we had a table with stuff on it, everything from logs sitting there, the box turtle shell, rocks, everything on a table. And the candidates could go into the room, pick something they liked, and talk about it, and in essence, teach it to me and Greg, and they had time to put their stuff together. What you just learned from Natalie is what she did in her interview, and I think about it all the time, and that was last summer, and I still remember the FBI. She made it fun, and it's why she's so great at her job.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We have a question. Does Lockerly have saplings from the trees on the ground and not poison ivy to purchase?
To purchase, no, I'm sorry. We did have to postpone our plant sale because of the coronavirus, but we are hoping to reschedule some sort of plant sale for the fall.
Great.
you see those ferns on that tree?
Mhm.
Okay, these ferns are called resurrection ferns. Resurrect meaning to come back from the dead. So what happens is when there is not a lot of water, these plants are not exposed to a lot of water, they sort of curl up and look brown and crusty like they've died. But the next time that it's really humid out or we get a nice rainstorm, those will come back to life and they'll resurrect from the dead. They are called an epiphyte, which means that they're a plant that grows on another plant. So thinking back to our lichen, it's another commensalism, symbiotic relationship, where the resurrection fern needs somewhere to live, but the tree is not harmed or benefited in any way. So it's just sort of a place for the plant to hang out. Scientists have said that some of these resurrection ferns have gone 100 years without adequate water supplies. I don't know where the stat came from, but that's crazy that they are able to come back to life on such little amount of water. Most plants die completely when they lose like 12% of their water content, but these plants have been able to come back after losing 90% of their water. So they're resilient.
How fitting. Easter coming up. We'll look at the resurrection first.
All right, well, that is the end of the nature trail here at Lockerly, and it's about 12:30, so I think that's kind of what we had planned for today.
Maurice is waiting for lunch. Same. Anybody else have any additional questions they want to type in for Natalie or Jennifer? Oh, let's see. Thank you. Fun meeting. Great job. Thank you. Yay! Thanks for joining the meeting.
All right,
Special thanks, Jennifer, Natalie. We might try to do this again next week with a virtual speaker. Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Jennifer. This was a great meeting, and I appreciate everybody logging on. I know this was some very new territory for everybody to do this, so I hope you all enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you virtually again, hopefully next week with another speaker. And I just pray that you all stay safe and stay well and stay home. I know we're not doing that today, but we're making sure we're keeping our social distancing and we're being very careful. So we hope you all are doing the same. And with that, our Rotary meeting